right, let's keep it going. 2034, 2035. Another interesting year. You guys have 6 first-round picks this year and a second. I only have my first at the moment, so wow. 6 first-round picks for chat this year. For you guys, in looking at the team, it's got Blake Wesley as a depth option, but you're good with Woolridge and Bishop. Desmond Moore right now is the first guy to probably go down to the G League. Got Johansson as a starter. Honestly, Randall Kerr, he's got a higher potential. And until Anderson gets traded, it needs to be Kerr for you guys who goes to the G League and still plays. So, honestly, your trade block too is pretty simple. You could try to trade Darius Woolridge to let Bryce Bishop just be the starter. You should at least look for offers. Eamon Thompson has to go. That's pretty obvious. And Anderson has to go as well. Aside from that, there are some other players. Of course, you can still get offers for players. Bishop should be pretty much untouchable for you guys right now with that A+ potential. Wouldn't be a very good decision to let go of him. Even Bledsoe at that A-. Although, yeah, really Bledsoe and Kerr should probably both be untouchable as well. So if you're going to get offers for centers, that's what it should be. So, like I said, for the most part, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm setting up your team pretty much as I would set up my own, just for the sake of time. Blake Wesley wasn't yours. So a 10-man bench for this season. You got Woolridge, Thompson, Johansson, Forbes, and Anderson. That way, too, Garcia, Bledsoe, Bishop, Cox, and Desmond Moore all got some playing time as some younger players. For my St. Louis Sound, Sims wasn't mine. Izette's fine. I don't think I have anybody to send down. I don't. No one to send down to the G League. So for my team, I'm not worried about Kendall Brown. Romero won't get much playing time. So that'll be an 8-man bench with Romero heading to the G League. Shot to Chase Square. What the? Oh, the old bit timeout. A bopping. For me, in terms of trading, Cummings is probably a little bit overpaid at this stage. Now wouldn't be the worst time to cash out on Sean Cole. I need to look at Tugay to be the guy. So if I can get a good deal for Sean Cole, I should do it. Fetch offers for him as well. Javon Peters gets paid a lot. Watson gets paid a lot. And then Watkins and Powell were fine there. So yeah, I don't have too much to hold on to. So I would like to think with our rosters, either one of our teams could actually be decent, but we've thought that for the last couple of years, and it just hasn't happened. Again, this has been a terrible time for both of us. You guys do get an offer for Eamon Thompson, but it also involves Woolridge, and it's bringing in 31-year-old power forward Jarris Walker. I mean, you guys do need a power forward to build around, but he's 31 years old. He's got 2 more years on his deal than Eamon Thompson. Costs $13 million less. And then 2 years of 37-year-old Brandon Ingram, unless he retires. That would be a cap hit disaster for Chat's team. So the problem is, too, everyone's over the cap. That's a big factor, too, right now. I mean, has there been a single year of this entire era that neither one of us were in the green? So Juan Garcia, your 26-year-old guard, in the center you want to get rid of Chris Anderson for another center in Neil Cameron, who I think was a draft pick of mine. And then House, who's 29, who gets paid more than Garcia. It's not worth it. I mean, as much as you'd like to move out Anderson, you have 2 young centers. Like, it just doesn't make sense to trade center for center right now. If it was a center for power forward, it wouldn't be too bad. Woolridge for Valentine. Doesn't make any sense to take on another center. So we can just decline that. We're trying to speed run this shit at this point because this era could take a really, really long time. It already has. We're getting to the point where this era could last longer than all the other ones combined. For me, Cole for Drew Warwick. 23 and a C+, and then veteran Jet Howard. It's going to be a no. I wouldn't mind trading Cole, but it's got to make sense. That one doesn't make sense. You guys do get an offer for Garcia. It's him in a second for another center, 23-year-old Tafer Demunic. But he's only a C+, it's 78 overall. You get another first-round pick in the future, but it creates a log jam at center. And gets rid of the guy who could be your shooting guard once Eamon Thompson leaves the team. Chat's saying no. I think that's probably smart. I don't blame you for not being too enticed by a first-round pick. We've had mixed success with them the whole way. So, for me, Powell for Daryl Hilliard and a first. 24 and a C+. Powell, 22 and a C+. Do I need a shooting guard at all? If I got rid of Cole, that wouldn't be the worst deal in the world. It leaves me without a backup center. I'm going to say no to that, to be honest. Not often I say no to first-round picks, but I don't know what the hell to make of this entire era. I really don't. It's so freaking weird, man. I don't know what the hell to make of it. I really, really don't. But hey, we march on. We march. What a weird era. 8 and 15 for the Sound. No matter what the hell I do, this team cannot win games anymore. It might just come down to being stuck with a random shit coach at this stage. Who's to say? Powell and Tugay. Is that Trent Gary? It's Trace Gary. Who the hell's Trent Gary? 27-year-old, 80 overall center and a first that's top 10 protected. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. I demand 4 first-round picks for Tugay Izette. At least. At least. But, you know. What are you going to do? Oh, goodness. Nest, I will say your whole idea of the picks on the block, you can still get offered deals. If the AI wants to offer a deal involving those picks, they still can, even if they're not on the block. I mean, I can look, but another offer for Eamon Thompson, but it's Jarris Walker and Giannou. Again, at this point, Eamon Thompson might be leaving the team, but yeah, screw it. You might as well. So for you guys, you have Chicago's, you got the Clippers, Atlanta, Orlando, and Houston. As we look at the standings, Houston, the number 1 team in the league. The Clippers are number 3. Atlanta's number 9. And then Orlando's number 11. And Chicago is the one pick you want to keep. They're at 20th in the league right now. So yeah, a lot of those picks that it's looking like you guys will have are going to be late. It makes sense to put the Rockets pick that's projected to be first overall. It's not even worth trading it. With how little value it is, you might as well just keep it and hope that you find a steal. So I got to be honest, it's in your best interest to just leave the block open as it is. Given it's a 1-star value, you might as well just keep it. So, I mean, and you guys on multiple occasions now have found those draft steals with those later picks. And if you find the steals with the later picks, they're cheaper. Because those contracts work like they do in the NFL, where the higher you're drafted, the more guaranteed money you get. It's honestly not a bad strategy to make a shitload of mid to late round picks in the first, or even high seconds if you can get them, just because of the less amount of money you have to pay for them. but obviously there's the chance you also don't get anybody at that point. So that's kind of the metagame that we're both struggling with here. You guys are 8-29. I have no idea how you're this bad. I have no idea how you're this bad this season. But it is what it is. We can trade up. You cannot trade up unless you get a deal to trade up. We're not allowed to initiate any trades whatsoever unless we utilize our nuke. That is the only way. Right now, though, you guys are on pace to end up with the first overall pick. 33 teams in the league. Power rank has you at 33rd. Hey, it's your old buddy Wheeler. Your old buddy Dexter Wheeler. What a disappointment this guy was in terms of high-end potential. And Albert Dunleavy, one of us had him on our team. I think it was me. It's not worth it. I mean, you might as well just keep Woolridge. You don't need the shooting guard that badly because you have Garcia. So keep it going. That's all this era has turned into is calendar simming and a little bit of an off season. So that's all we got. That's all we have. This is ridiculous. Oh, goodness. Wheeler's 30? Yeah. You guys had that guy when he was, what, 20, 21? That is how far into this we are, over a decade. As I get an offer for Sean Cole, it's 33-year-old Dan Hammonds and 34-year-old Cole Anthony. Jesus. I think nobody in the league has any cap space. I think every single team is paying to the cap. Which is just absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. But goodness. Goodness. That's how the actual NBA is too. That's fair. But you'd think eventually somebody wouldn't be paying to the cap. You get an offer for a forward. It's Woolridge and veteran Blake Wesley. For 26-year-old Ellis Holland, who's not that bad. Shout out to MK for the 10 months. Only saving grace is abolishing the cap. 26 overall, or 26 years old, 81 overall. And Dick Vincent. The power forward, Dick Vincent. I mean, so you'd get rid of the point guard, but you'd bring in a forward who's on an expiring deal. I gotta be honest, I wouldn't take it. I mean, Henrik Johansson is not really that far overpaid. I wouldn't take it because it leaves you without another point guard. I mean, you get Vincent at power forward. I'd leave you with 3 power forward. It's just weird. It's just weird. You guys haven't gotten a single trade offer for Chris Anderson either. You might severely regret that extension. So, I'm seeing a lot of nays. A lot of nays indeed. So, we move on. We move on. Goodness. We move on. God, stop with the same garbage trade offers. Sheesh. Oh, goodness. All-star team captains. Give me a second here. No. Not giving up a first-round pick. Well, we hit the trade deadline. Neither of us have a nuke. Eamon Thompson will resign with you guys, but I have a hunch you don't want him back. Jaden McDaniels is going to retire. For me, Sean Cole's going to leave at the end of next season. Just keep going. Let's just keep going. Goodness. My goodness, our teams just suck. Goodness, Milbury could win quicker in this era. You might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. At this point, it should just be a draft of glory. Expensive contracts aren't movable. It's getting to that point, yeah. It's getting to that point. So this has gotten depressing. Those first few eras were pretty close, competitive. Certainly didn't take 10 years to win anything. Mr. Nuge Television, good to see you. Probably down to play more pro clubs in a little bit. Waiting to hear from some of the fellas as to what they want to do. Got to get some of our FIFA career mode in there tonight, too. So I'll probably get through this upcoming season, the draft and such, and then, you know, we go long enough to go get out of the red. Dude, at least I'm not 500 million in the hole anymore. I started off $500 million in debt. It was nuts. Derp, what's up? How are you? How the heck are you? Welcome back to Both of Our Teams Suck, and the modern era's never going to end anytime soon. So there's that. There's that. Scoot Henderson wins MVP again on his first year with a new team. He's a member of the Lakers. Rookie of the Year, the St. Louis Sounds, Clayton Powell. Attaboy, Clayton. Finally got something. My 5th overall pick. Started off at a C+. Hopefully that improves. 6th Man of the Year, the Nashville Stars, Tracy Burks. Defensive Player of the Year, Houston's Evan Mobley. Most Improved, Sebastian Tegonix. A name that will continue to haunt chat for the rest of time. Clutch Player of the Year, Scoot Henderson. Oh, derp. Eras, again, in any other video game, sports video game would be insane. It'd be insane. Palms fan, 41 months. Let's go, Knicks. Go where? To the golf course. Your All-NBA first team, Scoot, Wemby, Cade, Giddy, and a dude named Billy Farrell. He was the first overall pick, wasn't he? He was, 2032. Dude, he's insane. Jesus, wish we got him. If one of us ended up with that guy when we had the first overall picks, we'd be fine. But no, we end up with meh. The all-defensive team is Wemby, Gabe Watson of the St. Louis Sound, Evan Mobley, Calbert Morrison, and Cason Wallace. Your all-rookie team, Clayton Powell, Del Taylor, Doug Barry, Robert Bledsoe of Chat Cincy Lions, and Raymond Cole. If we had him, he never would have developed, probably. Neither of us have made the playoffs. We started off with both of our teams consistently making the playoffs. It's been at least 3 years, if not 4, since one of us have made the playoffs. I think I made it 3 years ago. I think it's been 4 for you guys. This has been tragic. Absolutely tragic. Let's find out the 2035 NBA champions. Who will it be? Who will it be? It'll be either Memphis, represented by Josh Giddey, or the Chicago Bulls, led by Freddie Stokes. Memphis or Chicago, the Chicago Bulls are once again NBA champions, thanks to that former first overall pick, Freddie Stokes. Everyone gets good first overall picks except for us. It's crazy. The Chicago Bulls are champions. Giannis has retired. Nikola Jokic has retired. Pingus Tingus has retired. DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Ayton. We are so far into this frickin' era. Oh my God. Anthony Simons, who I traded for in season 1, has retired. Tyler Hero's gone. We're never gonna win. Never ever. It's the series that'll never end. Giannis, Jokic, and Donovan Mitchell have made the Hall of Fame. We're at the point where Giannis and Nikola Jokic are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. What the hell? Jersey retirements. Jokic and Giannis. No surprise there. Again, Jokic stayed with the Nuggets all the way until the final year of his career. Only 1 year off. In terms of league meetings, no new rules. No new rules. The draft lottery. Chat in the top 3 at 14%. I am in 6th at 6%. Even though you guys have 5 first-round picks this year, only one of them is a lottery pick, and it's your own. Who wins the draft lottery in 2035? The Milwaukee Bucks. So chat will be selecting at 6, 19, 23, 28, 32, and 33, while I will be picking at 8. All right. Well, that lottery wasn't too kind to either of us. Holy God. Holy God. To the draft. To the draft. Chat's first pick, 6th overall. You do get a trade offer, Nuge. The worst part is not even allowed to actively trade picks. We leave it up to if we get offers, because otherwise it would be all the time in the world spent on the menus. Honestly, I can't imagine there being a deal here. I mean, look at Drobnak, but you'd have to give up the 28th pick. You'd get Lou Barker, excuse me. Drobnak's only a C+. Christoph Cisse, I believe, is a... No, Christoph Cisse is an A-, but he's only a 72 at 24 years old. He's not going to make it. It's very unlikely, at least. Raymond Cole is a B-, 24 at 78. It's okay. I think you guys are probably better off just trying to make this pick and find somebody that's just lights out if you can. And again, 3rd overall didn't work out too well for you last year. It's just nobody... There's no deals for like, oh, here's this young guy in a pick. C+ Harvey Wells. I mean, we should check for the sake of it. Okay, here's one. So the 6th overall pick and a 2nd round pick, 4th of the round, for a 1st in 2037 and Alexei Byers from the Pacers. If this guy's good, you might want to consider it. But is he good? C+. Kinda sucks. But he is 20 years old and a 76. Honestly, it might be worth it given how many later picks you have, but you also don't know who's in the draft yet. There could be a great player waiting for you. So you probably want to go for the great player. I know this guy is potentially decent, but you'd have to give up another 1st round pick. You have 1 forward, not 2. Center, Trace Gary, and a future 1st, but you already have a younger center, a couple of them. You could get Dexter Wheeler back after all that time, so he can disappoint you one more time. Shout out to Paris Cheeks, but he's not worth it either. A 1st round pick from the Wizards and Corey McDaniels, 21 years old, a C+. All right, chat. Let's see who's available to you here. 6th overall. Let's find out. Let's find out. We will look for those with the high-end compare. Nick Cannon! He's hilarious. Shout out to Nick Cannon and his 17 children. You see how Elton Brand's all NBA? It's because I won a title with him 50 years ago. Wow, apparently this guy's going to be Winston Bennett one way or another. Another all-NBA to bench. There's got to be somebody better than that. Starter, Brian Farrell, 22-year-old shooting guard. Okay, there's the first real interesting guy. Point guard, Dell Cummings, who is all NBA to starter. That's not too bad. Starter for Grant Hopkins. Starter bench, all-star bench. Starter bench. Anybody else overly interesting? Oh my God, this draft, though, it might have been the right time to trade out, guys. I hate to tell you. Okay, Mitch Cooper-Dyke. But he's a center. But Mitch Cooper-Dyke All NBA to starter as well as a big man. Starter for Leftos Alexandris. All-star starter. Okay. So there's only 2 guys with an all-NBA to starter comparison. One's a point guard, one's a center. You guys have 2 good point guards, including Bryce Bishop, who should be awesome. So, again, you could go for the best player available. You have been getting a lot of trade offers for Darius Woolridge. It shouldn't be the most impossible thing to trade him. It does create a little bit of a log jam. You're going to lose Eamon Thompson at shooting guard. That leaves Garcia, who needs a new deal, as an RFA. And Desmond Moore will also be an RFA, or he'll have a team option, actually. At forward, you could use another forward. So maybe you forego best available and just take a forward who's at least decent. You got these 2 power forwards, but neither one of them is going to be like the guy. And then at center, you have Bledsoe and Kerr. Neither of whom should be forgotten about. So, best player available is a point guard or a center. Or you could go for an improvement at power forward or potentially a starter at small forward. In terms of the potentials that are listed, since that was asked about, it has small forward Barney Manning. Apparently with the best potential of the bunch. Nick Cannon at power forward apparently has an A-. Again, you can't totally trust this. But those are the dudes. A- or better. I mean, you could go for Barney Manning. You could just go for the point guard. You could go for Nick Cannon. He is hilarious. Wilding out. Nick Cannon. What do you guys think? Cummings, Cannon. What do you think? I need names. I need names. Still only seeing those 2 in particular. And I'm seeing a forward. All right. Well, here's what we'll do. You got Cannon, the power forward. You have Dell Cummings, the point guard, with one of the best comparisons. And then at forward, the best of the bunch is starter Leftos Alexandris. He is the best forward available. And his name is Leftos. Let's see what you guys think. Let's see what you guys think. I saw Cooper Dyke mentioned, but it was a second too late, so. Will it be Leftos Alexandris in the biggest position of need? Arguably the best player of the draft, from what you can tell, Dell Cummings. Or is it the power forward, Nick Cannon? Who will it be? Who will it be? Will it be? Those are the 3 names I saw before we kind of finalized it, so there might have been some later ones, but looks like chat's wanting to go for the best available. Will chat go for the 19-year-old point guard, Dell Cummings? The answer is yes. Dell Cummings on his way to Cincinnati out of Nevada. Best mid-range shot of any point guard. The Nets take point guard Grant Hopkins. My Sound are on the board. And there is nobody that I can trade for currently. So that sucks. Have my scouts found anybody that your scouts did not? We got a couple of starters. Quite a few starters. Mitch Cooper Dyke. Not that I need another center. All-NBA Glenn Washington. Put a bench for the floor. All-NBA to bench Nick Cannon. Starter Jay Warren. A lot of starters. Some reaches. Oh, man. Well, the best player left in this draft is a center. Which, isn't really something that I need. Can beggars be choosers? I don't think they can be. I just got to take what's there. Mitch Cooperdike, welcome to St. Louis. Just got to go with the best player that's there. It's the way to do it. Chat back up at pick number 19. You'll have to make a selection here as well. Let's see who's out there. I mean, there is the All-Star to bench. All-NBA to bench, Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon's still there. So you could easily go for Nick Cannon. You would have seen everybody else that's already there, so we might as well just go for Nick Cannon. We might as well. We might as well. There you go. Congratulations, Nick Cannon. Heading to Cincinnati. You guys will have a lot of other picks here still. Pick number 23, you do get a trade offer for. Hopefully it's a decent one. And it is. I mean, it's another power forward, but Christoph Cisse, again, good potential, but 24 years old and a 72. But there aren't too many good players left, from what we can tell. You have to take that. The 23rd pick for 2 future first rounders from the Clippers, you have to take that. That's not even a debate, unless Brian Harris is good, and he's not. Because you would have also had to have given up another pick there. That Clippers deal is a no-brainer. Or Sacramento. The Clippers, Sacramento, offering the same thing. That one with the Pacers isn't quite worth it. The Pistons offering their picks, but they're putting protections on them, which, to be honest, is a better sign. Because it goes to show that they think they're going to be bad. Which probably means it's worth taking their picks. They have the higher chance of being better. You would be pretty wise, I would say, to take that Pistons trade at this stage. The Timberwolves, but you'd have to give up a first, another first this year. Yeah, to be honest, I think your best bet is easily, it doesn't really even have to go to a vote, I don't think. Your best bet is that Pistons trade. 2 future first rounders. They have protections on them because they think they're going to be bad. Whereas someone like the Kings, they're like, yeah, here's our first, but they're probably going to be lower picks. So there you go. The 23rd pick off to Detroit. You guys get 2 more first round picks in the future. And unlike in previous eras, you can probably be pretty confident you're going to get to make them. You're back on the board at number 19. Or not 19, 29, excuse me. And let's see who else is here. I don't believe you've taken a forward in this draft. So, I mean, all-star bench. Starter, Wayman Westbrook. Raymond Westbrook, who is a point guard, though. All-star bench at center. Yeah, all right. There's not too much left. And you guys were saying, hey, small forward might not be the worst option. You could take the risk on Barney Manning. I know Nude shouted him out earlier. If you wanted to take a forward, he'd be the guy to risk it for. Or Colin Griffith and hope that he's actually half decent. His overall's not bad at that age. So. A lot of people saying, man, chill, what's going on, man? Griffith is younger, it's true. We'll throw it to a vote. Griffith or Manning? Will it be Griff or will it be the man? Shaq goes with here because there's really not too much else to take at this stage of the draft unless you just kind of hope that the scouts are wrong and that these guys are better than expected. It's Griffith's potential. A B+ apparently. Manning's showing up as an A. Manning is not fully scouted though. So, and again, off of the ceilings, all-star to bench, starter to bench. So, you know. As chat is going to go with Griff. All right. Colin Griffith on his way to Cincinnati. You guys have one more pick in this round. Jesus. Nope, you have two more picks in this round. Jesus Christ. Well, I'm just going to take the best player left available at this stage. There is the starter, Raymond Westbrook. There's a couple of other guys who aren't bad. Raymond Westbrook's worth taking here, though, for someone who's okay. He's well-rounded. The other forward's there, but you don't need him. I mean, you could take him, but Westbrook should be selected. That's a no-brainer. You also get a trade offer for this pick. I get some people wanted Manning. You could take him with this pick unless you get something half decent. You could still get 2 future first-round picks from the Clippers. You could also get 2 future first-rounders from Sacramento. One of them's protected. You guys are going to be best to opt out of this draft at this stage. You are best to opt out. The Thunder, Timberwolves, the Blazers. Yeah. That's Sacramento Kings trade. There you go. So honestly, I mean, not bad. Like, you're able to opt out when you need to. The unprotected firsts are worth less than the protected first, in theory. Because good teams are less likely to protect their picks. So if you take the protected picks, you have a better chance of those teams being bad. As you guys are on the board here again. Barney Manning's still there, so congratulations. You got him too. It all worked out. Who the hell am I going to take? I don't even know who the hell's left. That was a very successful draft for you guys. You got a couple of players. Glenn Washington could be all NBA, apparently. Well. Glenn Washington. Congratulations. You're my pick out of pure fucking desperation. He's out of Temple. Oh, the greatest college of all time. And of course, Milwaukee gets a really fucking good player first overall, because that's all anybody ever gets when they have first overall picks. Let's take a look at my boys here. Glenn Washington is an A+, but he's 23 years old and only a 71. I will sign him, though. And then Mitch Cooper-Dyke. He's not bad. I gotta sign him. I have 3 good centers, then. For you guys, Barney Manning. Probably don't need to sign Barney. See potential at 22 and a 70. I mean, granted, you could... Honestly, you probably should sign him, because the AI will just autofill your roster with players that make the same amount of money. You might as well just sign him for that reason. Raymond Westbrook. B+ at 21 and a 76 overall. You're welcome, by the way, for taking Westbrook for you before Manning, because Westbrook might not have been there. That's a damn good player as well. Only making $3 million a season. Colin Griffith. A- at 20 years old and a 73. So far, a pretty good draft from chat. We get to Nick Cannon. Absolute trash. He's absolute trash. You could sign him as a depth player, though, to hope that he gets a little bit better. It's not the worst idea, but yeah, he's not making that much money. You know, he's making less than $5 million. You might as well sign him, even if he's in the G League or a depth option. But here's the big one, Dell Cummings. 19 years old, 76 overall, B-. That's not bad for his age and overall. Does make $10 million a year, but man, his age and overall, it's not bad. I don't know if anyone here was necessarily a home run, but it is a decent crop of talent. But again, we're missing superstars. So, in terms of the team and player options, you guys got to make a decision on Desmond Moore and Randall Kerr. You probably want to keep Moore for now since Amon Thompson's leaving. And Kerr does still have a good potential. His overall isn't the best, but you need him in case you guys get rid of Anderson. They're a superstar in the draft. A lot of the middle round picks have been kind of weird, but we have seen good players develop. So, I'll be keeping Azette and Watkins. Like Billy Farrell, I mean, he was a first overall pick. Homer Romero was a first overall pick. Bruno Popovich was 9th overall. Like, there are players that are developing, but we've just had some bad freaking luck. Eugene Fox can go. Do I need to keep Ray Hammonds? I should keep Ray Hammonds. Good to know. For you guys, Forbes, Garcia, Cox, and Guzman. Guzman's a nobody. You might as well qualify. Well, actually. So at power forward, there's Cox. You got Garcia at shooting guard, and Forbes is also at power forward. You could let go of Nicholas Cox. Like, he has the best potential of the group, but Cannon's not that much worse. But then again, Cox could get better. So, I mean, you might as well qualify those key three. You might as well. Again, it's just such a weird spot to be in. Such a weird spot. And in terms of free agency, there are some decent options. Andrew, I had no idea that's why you were in Kansas City. I did see that you were in KC, though. I'm glad you got to see him. I know you're a huge fan. In terms of the money available, Chat's Lions have $61 million. Chat can make a play for anybody. The problem is, who the hell would you make a play for right now? Could go for Ricky Castro, but he's 31. Dario Jovanovic is an A- at 25 years old and 83. All the shooting guards are older. I mean, Grady Dick's 31. A forward, Frederick McKenzie, but he's an RFA. I gotta be honest. Shout out to Dick Drew. I think you guys hold off. You already have a big center signed, so it probably wouldn't be the wisest. Honestly, what I'm looking at too, I'm not signing anybody. They're all old as shit, and for teams that are closing in on being better. You can focus in on the likes of Forbes and Garcia. The problem is, Garcia wants a $40 million cap hit. So there's no way you're signing him. It's going to come down to the qualifying offer. It has to. Daryl Forbes wants about $12 million a year. 77 overall at 23 years old with a C+. If you don't take him, you're down to Cannon and the other ones. So, I mean, you could go for the power forward. But yeah, in terms of your RFAs, I mean, you cannot offer Juan Garcia the money that he wants, given that he wants to be paid like a starter, which is insane. Just absolutely insane. So let me know what you think about Forbes. You're the only one with an offer in right now because it's the qualifying offer. For myself, it's just Ray Hammonds, who's also an RFA, so I'm going to wait there too. Got Hammonds on cap hold. That's all I need to do. For you guys, you got Garcia on cap hold. You can have Forbes on cap hold. And you're good to go from there. And then there's the other, or then there's Guzman. You don't need to worry about, so. It's pretty straightforward here. Pretty straightforward. In terms of what we're both going to be looking to do. So. We just wait to see what happens with our RFAs. That's it. This really has been practically on autopilot. So Daryl Forbes, 2 years, $11 million from the Clippers. If I'm not mistaken, right? That's not $22 million per. Would make sense given what he wanted. He's a fine player right now, but it probably is best to just let him go. It probably is for the best to just let him go. Knowing that his ceiling isn't much higher than that, and that seems to be what chat's all right with, I don't blame you. I think it would have been worth keeping. Juan Garcia, holy shit. Okay, say goodbye to Juan Garcia, guys. He gets a monster contract from the New York Knicks. Absolutely monstrous. $45.5 million a year from the Knicks. Jesus Christ. That is outrageous, the money that is being thrown around right now. Get the bag, young man. No kidding. Holy shit. I brought back Ray Hammonds under a qualifying offer. Dude, the contract situation is absurd. As for me, Watkins, Powell, Lizette, Hammonds, Romero all got a bit better. For you guys, Kerr, Bishop, Moore, and Robert Bledsoe especially really stepped up. A +5. Showing up as an A+ overall. Big Robert Bledsoe. He could be... hey, remember when you guys had Jalen Duren like 5 years ago? It's been so long. Oh my God. It's been so long. Let's at least get a look at what the teams will be shaping up like this upcoming season before we decide what we're doing next. For you guys, it's probably worth getting... Oh my God, look at the point guard situation you guys have right now. Jesus Christ. Wow. You guys are absolutely stacked at point guard. It's not worth putting Manning in the G League. Sign Gianno and have Cannon. Oh, Bledsoe ruptured his Achilles in the offseason. After a great bit of improvement, he'll miss the start of the year, if not the entirety of the season. The bad luck at this stage is insane. Jesus. So the lowest rated point guard that you guys would have is Raymond Westbrook. He could still play a decent amount. If you guys were to go, I mean, do you necessarily want to go with the 13-man bench? If you drop one guy to the G League, it could be Manning, and then you could run with a 12 just to have people playing. Westbrook would actually get a decent amount of playing time, so honestly, you might as well drop Manning. Can we move to a different city to break the curse? You might as well put Barney Manning in the G League at this stage. Drop the bench down to 12. Get people a little bit of extra playing time here and there. But yeah, wow. Weird, man. For my, St. Louis Sound. Oh, Christian Brown's back. After all this time. Glenn Washington was mine. I'm going to go... Did I care about Glenn Washington? I did care about Glenn Washington. So Glenn Washington's going to the G League. I'm going to run... Hello, Boris Dunleavy, my new coach, apparently. I'm going to go with a 12-man bench and drop Glenn Washington to the G League. And then in terms of talking about the trading block... Still all right. I mean, Cummings makes $30 million a year. I got to try to get rid of him if I can. He makes too much. Sean Cole makes too much money. I just think we haven't been selective enough with the contracts that we've handed out. Honestly, I'm going to try to get rid of all my freaking big contracts at this stage. Why the hell not? I mean, Jesus, Gabe Watson's making $45 million a year. If I'm handing someone $45 million a year, they need to be making an absurd amount of money. Crazy. And then at center, the worst of the bunch is the reigning Rookie of the Year, Clayton Powell, at a C+. So I'm going to have a pretty active trade block here. And then for you guys, it's also going to be pretty straightforward. Woolridge has to go. And then out of the point guards, it makes the most sense to move on from Dell Cummings. You have Westbrook, but Westbrook is a couple years older and a point worse, but has a better potential. You could leave the block open from there. But Bryce Bishop's your guy. To be honest, you could even do something like that just to try to influence moves. Moore is worth keeping around. Johansson's making $12 million, which isn't that bad. But you do have Colin Griffith now, who can be built up. So Johansson's not the worst guy to move. You got Cannon, and then you got the big center in Anderson that has to go. So it's pretty straightforward. Can we get a reverse nuke that allows us to sign more than one free agent if we have the cap room? Joke's on you. We never have the cap room, which is why this challenge is never going to end. Ever.